Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Al Shai Bashem Makakwadash. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, I Saw the Rest of Leave the World Behind. And this is my take on it. I did a video previously, a couple of days ago, on the subject, but I hadn't watched the whole thing. I kind of watched maybe 50 some odd minutes into it. And now this right here, as you see on the screen, is a Tariq Radio, which I subscribed to him. And this is, well, it says a day ago, so we're talking about, 2 days ago. It says Tariq Nasheed reviews Leave the World Behind. So, here you got him talking. Let me see something. Okay, this is the first scene. This is one of the scenes when they're going up to Point Comfort. And I watched the video that Tariq Nasheed, he did a very good analysis of it, but he saw the whole thing. Like I said, I hadn't seen the whole thing, but I saw, this is pretty much in the beginning of the movie. The very first scene, let me do this, before this one, or after, is, let me see if I can find it. I didn't like the ending. The ending left me wondering what the hell. What the hell is this scene right here? Well, I wanted to get into this here. Okay, just wanted to show you something. Like 4407. 4407. Matter of fact, let me go to this right now. Okay, this is, what is this guy's name? Here's Steve Bannon, which he was part of I believe a cabinet member. He was part of the team of Trump when Trump first came in. And he's back, he's in and out of the system because of some fraud or whatever, if you go back some years. But this is, let me open this up. Matter of fact, see if I can make this clearer. Real America's Voice. Follow us on social media at the War Room. So they're speaking about the, you know what, let me do this. Let me come back right over here. First thing I noticed was behind them, this is an icon, but it's a whitewash icon, which the original icons are people of color. She has a saint behind her, which is not a Jake, but it's based upon the icon. But this is the first thing I really noticed. So he believes in what the world calls Jesus, or Jesus the Christ, but he's clearly got him as a white man, so he's definitely a white supremacist. Donald Trump definitely believes in a God and a Jesus, and when he goes to sleep, now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord. That's a prayer that Trump, he can't go into no deep prayer. He's picturing in his mind this guy right here, Caesar Borgia. Here it is, almost 2024. This is played out, man. The majority of the world knows that the Messiah was not a white man. So anyway, let me do this. I don't know where I'm going to go with this. I don't think Tariq will take my video down for copyright, but just to be on the safe side, YouTube might just do it. Okay, so here it says, all right, especially white people given the innate racism. Especially white people given the innate racism of Obama. So this guy, Steve Bannon, is calling Obama a racist, an outright racist. Because there was a scene in the movie with a little girl. Well, she's not a little girl, but she was like in her 20s, talking to her father saying, I don't trust people, I don't trust them. And they're white. I don't trust white people. Well, Edomites don't trust Jake. Obama and his wife, this is pretty in your face and shocking and quite frankly unacceptable given they've lived off the dole. Oh, he's saying that they had a handout and they made it because of the they received that basically a handout. Any Jake that makes it, he's saying this is racist talk. He's saying that they're living off the United States. He really didn't do nothing as a president for so long. Your thoughts, ma'am? Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Obviously, it is. It is disgraceful, as you say. I mean, it is. Again, this movie is full of Easter eggs right. It is. And by the way, these right-wing channels, they love getting these Northern European white women. Well, that's Tariq talking. So this is clearly racism. See, Esau doesn't deal with facts. You can never show, if you show him the picture, or you show him a Revelation 1, verse 13, 14, and 15, where it describes our Lord having hair of wool. They said, no, it meant the color, not the texture. So they want the Lord to be white, even though it's clear that when it says wool, it's talking about a man with woolly hair, a woolly beard. And if you can't see it in Revelation 1, if you go to Daniel chapter 7 and 9, it tells you a man, which is the Ancient of Days, which is the Father sitting on the throne, wearing a robe, with his hair like wool. It doesn't say the color. Give the wool, when you say something, his hair was as wool, is clearly talking about the texture. And they'll go again, well, it says white. It doesn't say white. John 14, starting from the 6th verse down, Philip asked the Lord, show us the Father, and we'll be satisfied with that. He said, have you been this long time with me, Philip, and yet thou knowest me? He that seeth me see the Father, meaning I look just like my Father, and my Father came down in human form, which he did in the vision in Daniel chapter 9, verse 4. So there's your color right there. So right there, and you mean to tell me Edomites, these educated Edomites, they're well-read, college educated. So you mean to tell me, and they all have Bibles in their houses. So you mean to tell me they never read them scriptures? They're living in denial. And this is almost like a reverse racism. Why would he bring out this racism, being that he lived off the dole, him and his wife, meaning handouts. Dole meaning handout. Welfare is when somebody gives you, when you apply for welfare and you get money from the welfare, food stamps or whatever, you get aid from welfare, it's living off of the public dole. That goes back to the Roman Empire when they had a thing called bread and circuses to keep the people dumb. Okay, this is a comment. Let me just read this. I just hope it's okay to go with Hispanic or Native women still. Don't give them too much power or they will start having black. Well, that's true. That's why that's good point. Victor Korok. Anyway, so I got these minute markers right here, right? So now let's go, and I'm going to go through back to the basics. I'm going to go into Deuteronomy 28:68. You have guys like Vocab Malone saying that they try to sell themselves. That's not talking about the American slavery and coming over here in ships. It's talking about, I believe it's, well, if it's in the Josephus, but it's not really super clear. I mean, we know that Israelites were shipped to Egypt. That's why you had a big community that broke off, that had a big community of Israelites in Egypt, especially in Alexandria, Egypt, which they call them the Alexandrian Jews. But a lot of them were slaves, and that was before 70 A.D. So they're banking on, oh, that's talking about during the time of 70 A.D. Or actually any time before chattel slavery. And besides, Deuteronomy 28:68 says they will go to Egypt and they would sell themselves. There's no scripture, there's no document, there's no receipt saying Israelites is going to say, let's go to Egypt and try to sell ourselves. There's no document on that. You can play and read into it, but there's no document on that where you're going to have a group of people that's going to go to another country and say, we're on sale. Pantyhose on sale. Inside joke. And then, somebody says, I'm selling myself to be a slave, and the people saying, oh no, we don't want any slaves. At this point, we don't want any slaves. You're giving yourself as slave. There's slavery that still goes on today. Slavery has been with us since time immemorial. Slavery goes back to the law of Moses, where certain rights that slaves have. And you had Hebrews or Israelites that had other Israelites as slaves. But as far as the men went, it was for 7 years. The women, it was forever. So you had Israelites that had slaves, among Israel, among other Israelites. So I'm gonna go into that. I'm gonna also go into Joel, chapter 3, and that's definitely talking about chattel slavery. So now this is what I'm gonna do. Let me come on back. And what they were saying in the movie, or the part where Julia Roberts wants to dance, and she plays he wanted to play jazz. She wanted to play something a little faster. And then she remember she started dancing and she took off her sweater. And if a woman does that, you're in the house, just you and a woman, and she says, let's dance, and she takes off one of her sweater, that means she wants something. What comes to mind is Job 20. Their children shall seek to please the poor of our people. I'm merely paraphrasing. I don't got to go to it. So it's showing you a lot of meaning you got a lot of white Edomite women that are into Jake men. All right. Now, if this woman right here has never, she might be dealing with it. She might have dealt with a Jake man. But if she never dealt with a Jake man, if she ever gets with a Jake man, you know the old saying. She gonna hate, her white male counterpart Esau. And the old saying, don't knock until you try it, And see, one of the first major signs of a kingdom going down is when your woman don't want you. When your woman desires the enemy. So you're going down, but you're in denial. You're in denial. And the truth is mounting against you. And the world looks at this situation, the Israeli Gaza Hamas situation. You know who they're looking at as the bad guys. In war, you always the public opinion always looks at who the bad guys are, who's the good guys and who's the bad guys. Now, American media might portray it as this is the bad guy, but people around you got to deal with the world opinion. Anyway, let's do this. 19, right? Then I'm gonna go into some precepts. Can hardly see this. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. So, look at this. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, let me let Tyreek say what he got to say. I'm not going to let him actually speak. And I'll bring it back to this right here. Let me do this. Okay, here we go. Fort Mose Road. Actually, it's pronounced Fort Mose. Point Comfort. I'm going to show you that the very first ship that landed in the Americas with slaves was the White Lion. That's why in the scene at the beach with the ship, the reason why the ship was called White Lion, because that's the very first ship that came to the Americas and landed in Virginia. It wasn't a good ship, Jesus. That wasn't the first ship. The first ship was the White Lion. So that's part of our history. But it landed in Point Comfort, which is not called Point Comfort to this day. So these are like hidden messages, right? So we're going to get into Fort Mose and Point Comfort. In the movie, you had the man took out one of the characters took out a smartphone, or he was in no it was the Ethan Hawke character. He was in the car, and the signal was coming in and going out, but it would go to a radio station. It would go to what is it? 1619. That. I mean, come on, they're making it clear that it's talking about us coming over here in slavery. The slaves first came over here before 1619, but they didn't come to America. The first ship that came to America, the U.S., the 50 states, so you can understand, was in 1619. But as early as the early 1500s, they were coming in. They were slaves from West Africa going into the southern part of America. So a lot of these Simeonites and these other tribes that look Jake, a lot of them is Jake, a lot of them Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Anyway, it says somebody didn't pick up on this, which is Exit 76. 76. What comes to mind? 1776. So 76 could be code for America. It is code for America. There's a song by Donald Fagen called IGY. It was on the night. I believe the album was called The Night Fly. Great song. And he got to be a Jake. And one of the lyrics is that 76 will be A-OK. And he's talking about the future technology. He says, oh, that 76 will be A-OK, or something like that. And then the chorus is, what a beautiful world this would be, what a wonderful time to be free. So 76 is code for America. Okay, so let me see here. So let me let them speak here. Comfort now, why is that? That's very significant. Now, in real life, there is no point of comfort in Long Island. Okay, boom. Long Island, New York doesn't have a Point Comfort. That's the that had to have been filmed in New York in Long Island, because out there in the Hamptons, man, they got those mega mansions out there. Cause I used to deal with a chick that lived out there. They had a modest house, but they were doing very well. But we used to go down to the beach where the mega mansions were, and they were like castles. A lot of actors and stuff got houses up there. Okay, New York doesn't have a Point Comfort. That's the fictional area, the area they were in the movie, and was called Point Comfort. Okay, want to know why that's significant. Point Comfort is actually was a place in Virginia. Point Comfort was the place in Virginia where the first slaves, it was about 20 to 30 slaves. So Esau said, well, this is a good, let's get more, let's get hundreds of them, let's get thousands of them. The first slave ship from Africa landed in 1619. Now I'm going to show you something. Okay, White Lion. In late August, the summer is gone and we're still not free. 1619, 20 to 30 enslaved Africans, which are Israelites, landed at Point Comfort, today's Fort Monroe in Hamilton, Virginia, aboard the English privateer ship White Lion in Virginia. These Africans or Israelites were traded in exchange for supplies. That's a barter system. They sold a girl for wine that they may drink. So they didn't necessarily sell them for money. They sold them for other things. And I'm going to go into that. It says several days later, a second ship, Treasurer, arrived in Virginia with additional enslaved African Israelites. And it was, the year was 1619. Because there was already Israelite slaves in the south of America, the so-called Latin America. And like I said, they showed Julia Roberts get with the brother, Ali, the actor, and she wanted to give it up, and he was the one that turned it down. She was hitting on getting with this guy, and he kept saying, but my wife. And then the part with the daughter and the father in the bed, and she's saying, I don't trust them because they're any white people. We can't trust these white people. She was like the conscience of the movie. You had the white boy, fantasizing about her, pleasuring himself, taking pictures of her with a bikini on. And then you have the Kevin Bacon character. You got to see the whole movie, the Kevin Bacon. But Tariq Nasheed does a good analysis of the movie, so watch it. I urge you to watch it. So almost at the end, the young boy, the son, he starts losing teeth. He's throwing up blood. And he goes to this guy, Kevin Bacon character, and he's like a patriot type Edomite with the guns and long guns and building shit. And he had supplies. So he gave the kid, I'm giving you giving the movie away, but you should have done watched it. Anyway, the boy started getting better. Now, throughout the movie, there were different signs of the movie. In the movie, there was a sign of red leaflets falling. Red, you think of China, red China, which is communist, but it had Arabic writing on it. And the son figured out he said, oh, that means death to America in Arabic. The Kevin Bacon character, which I believe Kevin Bacon is a Jake. He's from out of Philly, if I'm not mistaken. He's Irish. He a Jake that looked like a white boy. That's just my opinion, you know. Anyway, the son says, "Oh, that's Arabic, and it means death to America." But there was some other Arabic writing, and the son said, "I can't read all of that, but I recognize that from a video game or something like that." But the leaflets were red China, communism. Kevin Bacon's character, he breaks it down because he said, "Look, get off my property. I ain't helping you. F y'all." And then he kind of says, "Oh, let me help him. Why not?" He gives him medicine, but he breaks it down. He breaks it down and says, "I knew this was coming." Even to Jake, he broke it down. He said a friend of him told him how to take down the country. And he said, first confuse the people by blackouts, this, that, and the third, and then the people will fight against each other. And by the time you get there, half of the people are already dead because they're going to kill each other because of confusion. And there was another part with the deers out there. And there was a head, the king deer, so to speak. And they had this. You got to see the movie. There's a lot of hidden messages in the movie. A lot of hidden messages in the movie. So you really got to talk to the writer and see what he meant by it. You know, you have your own interpretation. I believe the movie is left up to your imagination or your interpretation. But you can't get around Point Comfort. You can't get around the ship docking, coming on the beach, and that was definitely Long Island. That was definitely Long Island. To me, you can't deny White Line. The first thing I said when I saw it, White Line, it was a tight shot. I said, "What's White Line?" I looked it up. White Line. It's a ship, slavery, blah blah blah. The radio station that only popped up, 1619. And for you Israelites out there, for you Yah Israelites, you Old Testament only, or whatever Israelite group that are out there, 1619 to 2019 is not the prophecy of the 400 years in Acts 7 and what is that, Genesis chapter 15. Abraham had the vision. That's talking about Egypt, which is Mitzrayim, Egypt. So let me get into some more. 1611. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, that's the White Lion. 1611, 20 to 30 slaves at Point Comfort. So I put in 1611 slavery comes to America. The first Africans, Israelites in Virginia were a group of 20 odd captives, enslaved persons originally from modern day Angola. You go to YouTube, put in Angola, and go to YouTube, Angola, Africa, and just put in the different scenes and put in dancing. Them are definitely Jake over there in Angola. They kind of dance like Latin, almost like salsa. It says who landed at Old Point Comfort in Hampton, Virginia, in late August 1619. Their arrival is seen as a beginning of the history of slavery in Virginia and British colonies in North America, because as you go north, those were the British colonies. You got Pennsylvania. You got New York. They were selling slaves in New York too. Oh, New York never sold slaves. No, they were selling slaves. Down there in the Wall Street area was a slave uh, auctioning going on down there. So don't give me that bullshit. So now, let me come over here. We'll come back to 19. Okay, Fort Mose. We're going to read about that. In 1738, the Spanish governor of Florida chartered the settlement of Gracia Real de Santa Teresa de Mose, or Fort Mose, for short, Fort Mose, as a settlement for those fleeing slavery from the English colonies in the Carolinas. So they're showing you, based upon that sign, 76, America, Fort Comfort, the first group of slaves, 30 odd slaves. 1619 on the car radio. It says exit, and then right next to it, you got Fort Mose, which was the beginning of Jake's getting freed because they were escaping. It says, with Fort Mose, a sanctuary for slaves in Florida. In 1738, when more than 100 Africans or Israelites had arrived, the Spanish established the fort and town. Because remember, Spain had Florida. Spain had Florida. The French had Middle America. The Spanish had the West. So there were three groups of Edomites: the British, the Spanish, and the French. You had those wars: Spanish-American War, French-American War. And you had the Purchase, the Louisiana Purchase, a town of Fort Mose, pronounced Mose. The first legally sanctioned free black town in what is now the United States. The story of Fort Mose is a tribute to those courageous Israelites and their pursuit of freedom. So we at the end. The signs is there. We at the end of this place. We're down to the last few months of Esau's system. When I say month, it could be 6 months. It could be 12 months. It could be 36 months. It could be 24 months. It could be 18 months. So we're counting down the months. Shit, watch what's going to happen come, in my opinion, spiritual opinion, come January 1st, or the month of January 2024. There's going to be a leap, what do you call it, a quantum leap. Things are going to change quickly because they want to fulfill their agenda of a new world order. They want to chip everybody, as Aaron Russo said. Oh, another thing that was made reference to in Tyreek's assessment of the movie, he had mentioned this: FM 60 Commander and Staff Organization and Operations. And he mentions you got to go to page 64, which this is a PDF, by the way. If you don't know what a PDF is, it says Department of the Army, United States of America. And on page 64, which I got to read it, it's talking about how they got to deal with urban warfare and these various different so-called black organizations, which include the Israelites. By the way, before 2000, they went into what? Let me see something. Okay, let me go to Project Megiddo. So if you think they wasn't watching us, right? Project Megiddo.
According to Wikipedia, Project Megiddo was a report researched and written by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation under Director Louis Freeh.
Okay, so let's open it up. Let's open it up. Okay, I didn't want all this. But there's another PDF. Let me see something. Okay, boom, boom. There's the opening pages, table of contents. It goes into when does the millennium begin? Because this was over everybody was all on, they were all worried about the year 2000. The computers are going to break down and everything's going to go back, and we're going to go back to the Stone Ages. And nothing happened. There's a blueprint for action, the Turner Diaries. Interpretation of the Bible. So they take the Bible seriously. They know that it's a spiritual book. Apocalyptic religious beliefs that covers these patriots, these white supremacists, these Bible Belt people, and Jake. Apocalyptic religious beliefs. I'm going to change this. This is going to change your religious beliefs. Inside joke. The New World Order conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theory are generally for nuts. No, it ain't. Not according to the Project Megiddo. And the year 2000 computer bug, because that's what they were pushing. Gun control laws. Check this out. The main focus is Christian identity. Now, when you look up Christian identity, these are Europeans that believe that they're the actual descendants of the Israelites. That's why they're focusing on them. So for them to say that they're the actual descendants of the Israelites, that's to say that the people in the land of Israel in the 1948ers are not the people. White supremacy, militias, black Hebrew Israelites. And this is before the year 2000. These are the groups that they're focusing on. Christian identity, which they believe that they're Israelites, white supremacy, militias, black. Now, this is what Kevin Bacon character will go on to militias, white supremacy, Christian identity, because I believe he made references to the Bible. And he said that he says the Koreans, or the Chinese, but they could have got together, they could have came together. This is at the last, 10 minutes of the video or the movie. And then then they put it all together. That's the Arabs, the Chinese, and Russians. They didn't mention Russia, but they mentioned Korea, China, the Arabs. They're all coming together to take this place down. Then they saw a scene where they saw from a distance missiles dropping on a certain city. There was 2 missiles dropped on a certain city. You got to see the movie. It says black Hebrew Israelites. So let's go to that. The significance of Jerusalem. It says Jerusalem shall be a burdensome stone, right? So they got their eyes on this group, which is they all the same. Black Hebrew Israelites, This is before we got popular. This is long before. Remember, this was put together by the feds before. This was out before 1999. The significance of Jerusalem. So now let me do this. Let me go to 23, page 23. There it goes. Whole chapter dedicated as the millennium approaches. Radical fringe members of the Black Hebrew Israelites movement that's why they call us the BHI, may pose a challenge for law enforcement. They said we're going to get physical, which that didn't happen. As with the adherents of most apocalyptic philosophies, that's why they mention the Christian identity, white supremacy, militias, Bible thumping Edomites, the South. Certain segments of the BHI movement have the potential to engage in violence at the turn of the century. So they're pushing that out there. That's why they made a big deal over there in New Jersey. And see, that's why you're stupid if you engage in fights. The scriptures say in Romans, if it at all possible be peaceful, live peacefully with all men. I'm merely paraphrasing. You got guys going out into the range that all they got to do is say, see, and then they take a broad paintbrush and paint you all that way. They all go out. They all got guns. This movement has been, we're a spiritual organization. This movement has been associated with extreme acts of violence. When? What is he talking about? In recent past. When? That's a blatant lie. Now, if you're talking about Yahweh ben Yahweh, he's a crazy motherfucker. And maybe he was set up because he used to be a NOI. The current intelligence from a variety of sources indicates that extreme factions of the BHI groups are prepared for a race war to close the millennium. See? But anyway, go to was it Project Megiddo? Go to the a PDF, and matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. So now your brother's gonna get into this. And like I said, I don't know. This was before. This was the countdown of the year 2000. So this was put together before the year 2000 when we wasn't popular. Matter of fact, the biggest group out there was the Yahweh ben Yahweh. At that time, we were still a little ragtag school. Okay, let me do this. I'll put this right over here. I'll do it this way. Excuse me. So anyway, you know what? Let me close. Let me get ready to close. I'm going to give you a couple of precepts. First is Deuteronomy 28. '68. I'm gonna get it in the I'm gonna go into the Hebrew. And the Lord, which is Yahweh, shall bring thee to Egypt. Now the word there in the Hebrew is Tazarium, Mitzrayim, as a small hatch would say, again, with ships. So they're saying that, during the time of, 70 AD and before that, you had the Israelites go into slavery. Not all of them, but some of them, some of the men, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, that was taken into Egypt, and they built the settlement there, which became the Alexandrian Israelites. And so they're saying that's the fulfillment. Well, wait a minute. Let me show you something. Okay, this is a map of let me do this. This is Jerusalem. This is Egypt. How the hell the Palestinians are walking down into Egypt in the scriptures that walk to go down into Egypt? You don't take ships over there. That's how they went in there. They didn't go. They didn't. Why would you get on a ship to kind of do this thing? They walked down in there, so that kills that lie. So the Egypt is not talking about actual Israel, Egypt. Okay, with ships. By the way, whereof I spake unto thee, which is the wilderness. Wherefore I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. You're never going to see the wilderness again. There ye shall be sold. So let's look this word up. It says sold to your enemies, right? It says you shall sell yourself. It doesn't say that. The word is makar. And I believe marketplace, makar, market comes from the Hebrew word makar, which means to sell. So English is made up, some of the words is in Hebrew. Market, if I'm not mistaken, mercantile. It says to sell, to be sold. Now it says to sell oneself. Doesn't mean that. To be given over to death, to sell oneself. I'm going to show you that there's no root. Makar. You sell me this day thy birthright, meaning give me the birth. That was barter between Jacob and Esau. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him and said he sold his birthright unto Jacob. That was a barter transition. So Jacob pulled a fast one on Esau. That's why Esau hates it so much in the spirit. For he hath sold us. So the word there is actually, this is, ye shall be sold unto your enemies. It's talking about Esau. Transatlantic slavery, for bondmen. What is a bondman? A slave man and a slave woman. Look it up. And what does it mean by no man shall buy you? The sale already took place. and no man shall buy you. Let's look up the word buy. That's where you get the word redeem. The word is quana. Quana. Redeemed. Redeemed. Purchase. Redeem means to buy back. If you buy a particular item, when you open up the box, you can redeem a coupon to get money back, or get something else, or get 50% off on your next purchase. So they ask you to say, "Where's your coupon or your redeem slip?" Because that piece of paper, it represents money only in that store. So the word redeem means to back and buy, or to buy back. No one shall buy you back. To get, acquire, create. In other words, nobody's going to free you as a people. No man's going to say, "I'm freeing all the slaves." Now, you had certain incidences where you had, like the movie 12 Years a Slave, you had a white man at the end of the movie, which was a friend of Solomon North up from the North, that showed the paperwork and said, no, he was born free. So he went back and got him. They brought the authorities too. So nobody's going to come as a people and say, "Look, I'm going to pay for all these slaves to be free." And why was that? Because the Most High wanted us to, experience this curse. Now, are we ultimately going to be redeemed? Yes, by Yahweh Shai. Redeemer. Let me look that up. Redeemer. For I know, Job 19:25, for I know that my Redeemer, what is a Redeemer? To buy you back. Liveth, he's talking about our Lord, and that he shall stand at the latter days upon the earth. Zechariah 14, he shall stand upon the Mount of Olives, and the Mount of Olives is going to split. That's parabolic talk for he's coming back. I know my Redeemer liveth. So Job knew about Yahweh Shai. Lord, my strength, my Redeemer. Psalms 19 and 14. Psalm 78, verse 35. And they remembered that the Most High was their rock and the high power, their Redeemer. Redeemer means to buy back. So no man shall redeem us. The only one that's going to redeem us is the Lord. And what did he say? He shall not meet you as a man. Isaiah 47 and 1. 1-2. For their Redeemer is mighty. He shall plead their cause with thee. I will help. Isaiah 41 verse 14. I will help thee, saith Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Because he's only coming for the Israelites. Fear not, thou worm Jacob, ye men of Yasha'Allah, which includes women. Look at that. So, Barack and Michelle Obama was behind this movie, so they know about the whole Israel thing. There was a movie on Netflix also where he rolled up on a group. They had the scene where the guy playing Obama rolled up on some Israelites and asked some questions. Because he was going to Columbia University, which is in Harlem, 116th Street. Jeremiah 50:34. All these are good scriptures. This is a topic right here. You can just read off these scriptures, man. It says, their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name. Not Jesus the Christ. Not Most High and Christ blessed. Not Yah. Not Yeshua. Not Yahuwah. He shall thoroughly plead the Israelites' cause, that he may give rest, Isaiah 14, that they may receive rest from the hard bondage that they were made to serve under this man. The ones that we were enslaved under, they're going to be our slaves. Can't get around that. Give rest to the land. The land is also a people. It's a people before it's a place. And disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. How is he going to disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon? By destroying Babylon. The daughter of Babylon. Let me look up the word disquiet. That's why you got to go into, you can learn so much more when you go into these root words, the etymology, disquiet. The word is ragaz. Ooh. Disquiet. It means to tremble, quake, rage, quiver, be agitated, to be excited, be perturbed, to quake, because the earth is going to quake. Revelation, Isaiah 24, be disquieted, be excited, to be perturbed, to cause to quake, disquiet, enlarge, disturb, to excite oneself. Because that's going to be a very exciting time. Tremble, move. The earth moved at his presence. Rage, the missiles of the rage, shake. Isaiah 24. There was a great earthquake, Revelation 11, and the 10th part of the city fell. Disquiet, troubled, quake, afraid. So anyway, I think I made my point. I was a little long. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.